Here I am going to try to install my propane system. This is all brand new to me, so I hope I do it correctly and I don't embarrass myself or worse. So, quick breakdown just for my thoughts and explain what I'm going to try to do. So, I got this copper 3/8 copper tubing with the yellow protector coat. That is for burying copper pipe underground, and it's a little bit more durable for under the car. And I'm also going to wrap it in the black electrical protecting cables. I have my propane alarm that I'm going to wire into the battery, so I don't have to worry about batteries dying. Here, for the flare tool, it's a flare tool for the copper piping. So yeah, I'm sure you guys know what this is and how to do it, but I'll go over it when we get into the video. Copper pipe cutters. I have 2 on-off switches, so I'm only going to have 2 appliances of the propane. That's the water heater and the stove top. So I have a bunch of flare nuts. This flare union, which I'm going to use to transfer from the copper piping to the flexible hose and regulator that's in the locker right now, but you'll see that in a little bit. So yeah, I'll show that. Here's my T. This will split the cable or the copper piping from the main line to the stove and to the water heater. But before that, I'm gonna have all the on-off switches underneath the vehicle, so there's less connection points inside the camper. So it'll be a little challenge to get to them, I think, to shut them off. But we have the main shut off, and I'm gonna keep the water shut off for now because I don't have a water system yet. That's next. So yeah, that'll be split off, shut off the water, and then shut off the stove when I'm not using it, and the propane tank all together. So yeah, I got my wires for this, all my clips, a deburring tool. This is my copper pipe bender, which I'll probably only use for the 90s to come up into the camper, and maybe some slight bends weaving around. And the spring here goes outside the copper pipe, and you can bend it without kinking it. So the challenging thing I just did, which you'll see, is I just hooked up this connection from the stove to the piping. This was weird. It was set up in Japan, so they had twin ferrule settings or compression fitting on here, which I'm not excited about, but I just put a new one on and then put a union to put it to the NPT threads to an elbow with a flare fitting, and then the copper pipe will come right in to be a hard connection to the stove, also a hard connection to the water heater. So, but I'll break all that down too along the way. So yeah, safety goggles, I got a mask, it's pretty dirty under there. So let's just get to it. I'm going to tailor this 2-stage regulator to my system. So I'm just making it easier and putting this Acme knob onto the end and putting some pipe compound on it to seal up the threads. So you want to make sure you get a green one for your RV system. I believe it lets more propane into the system, so your appliances work smoother. So yeah, get it on there nice and tight with the dope. Gonna cut off the old compression fitting. Alright, so here's the inverted compression fitting to ferrule system. So both those two ferrules go in and line up alongside the pipe, and you just tighten down that nut and it compresses both the ferrules into the fitting and they bite into the pipe, and that creates your seal. You just want to make sure you don't over tighten it. So just get the right amount of tension on it. So all these threads get the pipe compound to prevent the leaking, but none of your flare fittings do, because the flare is what makes the seal. For this, I think it's NPT threads. They're tapered threads, so when you tighten them, it makes a tighter seal, but they can use the either pipe tape or the dope goes on there. Just make sure you get the stuff that's rated for LP gas. So yeah, here's the flexible tubing and the regulator I just set up. The green for camper propane. What is like a 2-foot cable, flexible hose. But here you'll see, yeah, another one of these ferrule connections, which I don't think are regulation here in the States. But so yeah, this is the old pipe. Now I have to remove the old piping and set up the copper. So fresh tank strapped in. So here, this is already cut off from the inside. Then we had new linoleum flooring and everything, and then wood, and then rubber on top. So this isn't connected to anything. So it should just pull it right out. Get out of the way of the dust fall. Nice. So yeah, we're all free. See what happens. Okay, now I'm roughly gonna measure the length I need with the old pipe. Alright, so I marked where I need to cut, and then this will be the 90-degree bend into the locker. So let me cut and flare this. Okay, also gotta skin this layer off to get the flare nut on. Okay, you're also gonna wanna deburr the inside and outside of the pipe. A little piece, I'm gonna get my knife in there to get out. Okay, now before you flare, make sure you get the nut on there. Okay, now you just want to do about 1/8 of an inch up. I really can't, that looks fine to me. And then you gotta crank these down. Okay. Bam. And over. Line it up nice and even. Slowly get it in there, and then crank it until it bottoms out. Moment of truth. Nice. Yeah, it looks pretty good actually. Okay, just to give you a good look at what I'm doing under there. So here's the T, 3 flare T, 3/8. And then this is a 3/8 union, whatever connector, pre-made to my shutoff valve. So we'll just do this. This will be right under along the rails. Pipe coming from the tank into here, T's off here. This will go to the stove. This is to the water heater. And here's my first shutoff valve. Alright, now for make this bend. So yeah, I haven't done this before, so this is what I think is the process. Get it right into the bender. This part holding the pipe down when you bend it. This doesn't matter, it's only one bend in this pipe, so it doesn't matter which way I bend it. And I marked where the bend needs to be. So if I square this piece, I think when I bend it, that'll be the center. If I center this on the pipe, okay, I think that's good. Yeah, this protective coating makes it a little bit weird. All right, nice and slow, like. All right. So here's the piece, the leg that's going to run to the water heater. So I pretty much have enough of a portion here so I can trim it and attach it to the flare. I need to do two 90s to bring it into the camper and then start going traveling back. And then it'll hook around and go into the water heater. Okay, so here's what we're talking about. So pipe's coming out of here, here, and then back. Okay, we're officially attached underneath and in. It's ugly. I had to extend the hole a little bit. But now I'm going to take this plastic sleeve off because I don't need it anymore in here. And a way I can put my bending spring in. And I'm just going to hand bend it from here to my attachment point over here on the water heater. Alright, so we got it in. Yeah, you can see. I mean, I still haven't clipped everything in, secured it all, so I still have some room to play with, but got it in there pretty good. Alright, so the next day took some measurements and I'm pretty clear underneath the camper. Got the drill right there. Gonna drill right along this beam, pretty open right below it, and try to run the next pipe up through here. Pretty sure this was the old fridge drain spout, but doesn't connect through the camper anymore. It's just been cut off from the top and the floor over it. Pretty stupid. Okay, so there's my LP detection alarm wired in. Goes up and around and over to the battery. And then here's where the pipe comes in from underneath the camper. And it comes up right along that beam. Then right up around that bend and up into the stove top. So yeah, you might have been wondering why I put the elbow. Just because the back 2x4 for the countertop, I had to cut away to even get the stove in there. So there's no way to come in directly. So yeah, it just came up. It worked out really well too. Alright, we're officially done. Now I'm gonna turn it all on and test for leaks. Just get a soapy water concoction, hit the joints. And just look for bubbles. Alright, this is looking good. Okay, so here's where the line exits the locker. Not leaking. There to the 90. And then to the shutoff valve for the stovetop. Also not leaking. Alright, that's the final elbow that joins the stovetop pipe. Okay, everything is tested, ready to fire. Nice, fires right up. And do a little tea, and I'll have a little talk about the end of the video. So right back where we started. So the process is completely done. Everything is leak free. I'm extremely excited. I'll keep checking for leaks pretty much every month, just to be certain that we're good. I pretty much had to run the pipes twice. So the footage you'll see in the beginning of the video, the first half worked out pretty well. That was fine still. But the second half, I had the elbow in a really hard place to tighten, and I was using 2 elbows. I only needed 1. I swapped it to 1 elbow to a 90-degree bend, made it fit better, and everything was way more accessible now. So really, triple check your plan. I thought I had mine all lined up in a perfect order, but when it came down to doing it, it was different. So I changed it up. Pretty much, I also want to stress, do not buy this really cheap flaring tool. This is what I use. I picked it up because I'm on a budget. I am out of money, so I'm now check to check trying to fix this thing up and pay life stuff accordingly. So that's why there's no big trip in this, because gas prices are really high right now. So, anyways, whatever. This tool, the wing nuts, stripped on me. So they won't tighten down anymore. For a second I tried to go downstairs and use my vise to clamp it, but it was not good. And the actual flaring tool also got really gnarled by the copper piping and stopped making smooth flares. So really cheap, $20 tool, not worth it. Don't even try it. You just waste $20. But to step up, this Husky one has a really nice flaring tool. It kind of swivels as you wind it, so it gets each side of the flare first instead of doing it all at once and forcing it. So this gives a much smoother, much nicer flare. Also has the handle, has a clutch, so whenever you bottom out and you hit the point you need to hit, it snaps and it frees up, so you can't over tighten. So that's a really, really nice feature. Made it really easy for a beginner. And just the way this thing sets up is way nicer too. You do that, you just clamp it in, and then this part brings it together. And the pipe actually stayed really put in this one. It made a much nicer flare, held it together. This one, they would slip and gnarl up the edge of the pipe as well. So yeah, much better tool. Highly recommend that. So anyways, I'll wrap this up. Anyways, I'm just rambling. Tea is too hot to drink because I wanted the tea kettle to actually whistle for the video. So I'm not going to drink that. And it's got caffeine, it's too late. But everything is done. I have my LP detector in. That's wired into the battery. That's good to go. So it was a busy day. I actually caulked around all the seams too because I had a leak. So just taking care of the little things now too. Next up, we'll just do the water system. And I'll check in then. Hopefully we'll have a trip on that one. Maybe I'll do a trip too. It's my birthday in a week. So we'll do like maybe a cooking episode. Yeah. See you then. Thanks. Bye.